Good luck, everybody. Hey, anyone in the room want to throw out the first question? Just a reminder to everybody that on Erev Shabbos, the Sphere Reader Part 2 came out because, as we explain over there, the Sphere after Lag BaOmer is a whole different animal, as the saying goes. It's a time where every week we feel Shavuos already on a different level. The feeling of upcoming Shavuos is most tangible. It's like landmarks that we reach within the inside track that we passed into following Lag BaOmer. So please, I urge you, go to the website. You know, it's on the top corner of the screen, evanshassia.com, and download it from there if you did not get it by direct mail. So please download that. And just so you know, Bezrat Hashem, we hope with the help of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that a reader for Shavuos is coming to be released, if not by next Shabbos, then for Sunday, for Rosh Chodesh Sivan. So stay tuned. Keep on checking the website for new releases that hopefully enhance the Omer and Shavuos. We hope and pray that we will be liberated, be able to get out of quarantine and literally uvo kulam bebris yachad nasev and nishma amru ke'echad. We will all be able to re-accept the Torah, like we did all those years ago, as one nation in unison, like one person in one heart. All right, but we will wait and see. Okay, still waiting for the very first question of the evening to be thrown out on the board. All right, in the meantime, I think we said this on Thursday night that what we would have read in shul today, and I'm sure many read it in private. We're warned in the Tochacha and Techui Mikeri, not doing Hashem's commandments is bad enough, but refusing to wake up, right? When He sends us wake-up calls, that's 7 times worse, right? Taking things as happenstance. Yeah, virus got out, whether it got from a wet market, whether it got out of a facility, a lab in Wuhan. Right, that's the way things work. The way the cookie crumbles. That is the worst. Right, that is the worst. It's so that all this suffering should not be in vain. We have to make sure to wake up. And I've said this many times that we hope that we will be able to be reunited with each other. Right, come Shavuos, which would be so apropos. Here in New York, where I'm broadcasting from, our governor has us, my part of New York, that is, New York City, Long Island, we're under lockdown till Erev Shavuos. Rightfully, wrongfully, I'm not going to comment, right? But it's just so apropos that our lockdown opens up on Erev Shavuos when, literally the piece that I quoted from in Zmiros of Shabbos happened on Erev Shavuos. Uvo kulam bebris yachad naaseh v'nishma amru ke'echad. That was on Erev Shavuos. Right, everyone said naaseh v'nishma together, and then came Shavuos because Torah is the legacy of a nation. As we've said many times, named the Rosh Yeshiva Zichron Livracha of Yaakov Weinberg. Right, Torah is too big for an individual to contain. Only a nation is big enough for separate Torah, because a nation is not just many people. A nation is a corporate entity that includes all generations past and all generations that are yet to come. Only that is a vessel big enough for the Torah. Right, so I think there's a message here. Right, we said this so many times, but it has to be repeated so many times because COVID-19 is still here. Right, it's still here, so it means we haven't done tshuva yet. That the Rambam counts, 3 types of friendship. Right? There's the friendship of litanug, out of pleasure. It could also be forbidden pleasure. It could be like you just enjoy a person's company, or it could be for forbidden pleasure because you talk lashon hara, or if it's the mixing of the genders and there's a certain level of erotic pleasure. Right, so that's the lowest form of friendship, even as far as friendship goes. Even leaving halacha out of it, right? Just the lowest level of friendship, even if there would be no halacha violated. Right? Chaver l'tam. Then there's chaver le'ezer, right? You help someone, it's to lend a helping hand. And I think because of COVID-19, there's actually been plenty of that, even though we can't hang out together, but we're being put to test, right? To help each other. And I know in the community I live in, there's been tremendous, chesed helping. And sadly, sometimes it takes challenge to bring out that higher level of friendship. And that's tragic. We should always, even when times are, so to speak, good, we should always be on the lookout for someone who needs help. Right? And that's vital for the purpose of receiving the Torah. Because as we know, we're going to talk about this also in the Shavuos reader that will be released either next Erev Shabbos or next Sunday. We're going to talk about the famous idea that there's 48 ways that the Torah is acquired with, and it's parallel to the 49 days of 48, and the 49th day is to review. It's a famous word already from the Hasidim. The Hasidic Sforim say it, as does the Balei Musar, and we explain it in the Shavuos reader that will be released this upcoming week. So one of the ways that the Torah dictates is nose ba'ol im chavero, right? You have to carry your friend's burden, right? His problem has to be your problem also, and the Maharal explains right there that what we said just a few minutes ago, right? The Maharal explains because the Torah is the legacy of a nation, right? And so and nationhood starts with caring about your fellow man. His problem is your problem. That means the chover letanug, being buddies out just for pleasure, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. That doesn't make a nation. Friendships of convenience and pleasure, right? As so long as it's pleasurable, that doesn't make a nation. It starts from chover le'ezer. But there's a higher level that, as we're going to speak about, they camped opposite the mountain, like one person in one heart. Like, it wasn't mean all focused at the mountain where the Torah is going to be given. And, with like one person, one heart means only one focus, only one thing took up their heart, the Torah, and that's chaver ledavar na'ala. Right, to be friends for the purpose of doing great things together. For us, it's to be the chosen people, right? And the whole mission of the Torah, like we explained in our last time we got together, we spoke about this Thursday night, right? So we have to be a great people. I think there's a message here, that at least here in New York, where I live, that they're going to, the current stay-at-home orders lift on the 28th, Erev Shavuos. Right, that maybe the Rosh is sending us a message that when we reopen, we have to shore up our reopening. That shouldn't be to have the pleasure we've been missing out on. It should be for the purpose of helping each other, which we've been doing. The crisis in certain ways has brought out the best in us. It's just sad that it takes crisis to do so. But to me, seriously, it's important for us to be together to do big things. Because only together are we the vehicle that could hold Torah and bring the light of Torah to the world. Ken Yerotzen. Okay, we Shavua Tov. Right, we have a question. All right, does every average person, does good and bad, go to hell? So it's I should say like this. All right, so taking your first question first, right? That's right. First of all, I would say even more, right? It's not just the average person. Even big tzaddikim do something that's bad. Okay, all right. So it's very hard if you have a Yetzer Hara to never do anything wrong in your life. So even Moshe Rabbeinu, did something that was considered to be a sin, right? Chazal only count 4 people, max, that never did anything wrong. Period. Never did anything wrong. Right? But everyone does something wrong. Okay. So now it is a fundamental of faith, and it's actually the theme of the parsha that we read, Bechhofer, right? Reward and punishment, right? And it goes both ways. It goes both ways, right? That Hashem and Akoshu mekapech sar kol birya. Hashem gives reward for anything done right. Anything. No good deeds goes unrewarded. And the amazing thing is that Hashem even rewards creatures that don't even, technically deserve reward because they don't have free will, like the dogs, right? Like the dogs, in Egypt, right? When we left Egypt, the dogs didn't even bark out of awe and respect, as it were, right? So for that, the Torah reward them by that nevela, non-kosher meat that you can't eat. Don't throw it out. Like kelev tashlichon, so feed it to the dog. Right? The Torah awarded, gave a recommendation to award food that you can't eat for kashrus reasons. It's talking about when you're allowed to derive benefit from it. We're not talking about chametz on Pesach or basar b'cholov that was, that was cooked together, because that's a different problem. If it's your dog and you're saving money by feeding it, you're not allowed to do it because you're getting pleasure. There's certain types of things that are, also osor bahana, right? But that's rare. That's like orla, kilei kerem, or chametz on Pesach, basar b'cholov, when cooked together. All right, but otherwise, all other forms of treif, of non-kosher, you can benefit from. So Torah gave recommendation: feed it to the dog. So every good deed gets rewarded, right? And it's certainly true by a man who has he does what he does by choice, so he definitely deserves reward for choosing good, right? So, so God gives reward and now by the same token, God punishes for anything done wrong, anything done wrong, right? Now that's certainly true by man, right? That chose to do wrongs, and that's a fundamental of faith. The Rambam put that in the 11th of his famous list of 13 ikarim, right? Everyone gets reward and punishment. Okay, so everything that you do right gets rewarded. Everything that you do wrong gets punished. Right. So now, not all punishments have to happen in the afterlife. Matter of fact, Chazal tell us, and that to leave it for the afterlife is horrible. It's better to be punished in this world. And any form of pain, right, adds up to give atonement. Now, you don't have to suffer that pain. You could do tshuva and eradicate the sin that way. But sometimes tshuva is not enough because what can you do? Like, let's say you did something horrendous. Just being sorry, it helps, but still the cosmic damage has to be undone. The cosmic damage is undone by that damage becoming what ails you and afflicts you. But it could also happen to your money, and every bit of pain adds up. Because I'll say, even reaching into your hand for a coin, you're reaching for a quarter, you pull up a nickel instead. That counts. That inconvenience counts. Stubbing your toe, because I'll say stubbing your toe is also decreed by heaven. It counts for punishment, right? So and now God is all merciful, and He wants to punish you as much as He can, He can't do anything. Say as much as justice allows in this world, so that what is suffered in the next world should be minimal. Right, but you don't have to go to hell to get for a sin done. It could be very much, atoned for in this world, and to get it over with in this world is much more pleasurable than have to do it in hell. But hell is not forever. Not forever, and that's another thing to look at. That even though everything gets rewarded, everything gets punished, but there is a difference. Nothing, everything counts, and everything is judged. But the reward is forever. Olam haba. And the punishment is temporary. Whether it was atoned for in this world, was atoned in the 11 or even the big Rishayim, 12 months in Gehenna in hell. So the amazing thing that even though everything is judged and nothing is overlooked, nothing is ignored. Right? God sees everything, God judges everything. But the reward is infinite, and the evil, or the retribution for the bad that we've done is temporary. It's best to get it over with in this world. Best to get over with in this world, because all the pain in this world doesn't come close to the lowest, and most, for lack of a better word, comfortable level in hell. We're taught, right? So it's best to, and now to make sure it gets handled in this world is do tshuva. If you saw Hashem, you're sorry, so He's going to make His business to activate the. You're looking for forgiveness, so He's going to activate the gears to give you atonement, and you'll get it all over in this world. Now, since everyone does something wrong, Chazal say elsewhere, you went 40 days and nothing, no inconvenience, like for 40 days, no inconvenience. Every time you reached into your pocket for a coin, the right coin came up. Like I just put my car into a garage for a basic servicing, and they're claiming because of COVID-19, they don't have workers. It was supposed to just be there overnight. Now it's like 4 days later, and they don't even pick up the phone. Right. Okay. So I was a little bit inconvenienced by that, and that's good. And you go 40 days with zero inconveniences, you got to worry. Oh man, you got to worry. Right? Got to worry that you're not getting your atonement in this world, right? And it's being stacked up for you for the world to come. In the afterlife, which is much more painful. It could be even worse than that. They really, really, to complete the discussion on the topic, we've said God does not overlook any good deed. And God is just. Okay, so what does that mean? As you're not going to want to hear this, but it's the truth. That means, let's say, a Nazi who killed Jews, God forbid. But what can you do? He did a few good things. Whether he was good to his mother, right? Whether there was a few Jews, as much as he killed a bunch of Jews, there was one day he was in one of those moods and he didn't kill Jews and he let them, survive, and they survived the war. Whatever it is, right? He's got to get paid for what he did right. He's got to suffer for what he did wrong. But he's got to get paid for what he did right. So Chazal tells us an amazing thing. It's based on the pasuk. Misham alpanav la'avido. Hashem will pay the wicked up front for whatever good they did. He's going to pay them up front in this world, right? And it serves a dual purpose. First of all, they got paid, which means when they die, God doesn't owe them an afterlife. The slate is clean. They got paid already, right? So God paid them off. But now that giving them great lives in this world, they will not have any impetus, any, nothing's going to, like the opposite of what we're reading about this week's parsha. This week's parsha warns us, if your life starts getting hard, do tshuva. And if you go bekeri and you take it as happenstance, woof, God makes it even worse for you. Right? Worst thing is to ignore the wake-up calls. The evil won't get wake-up calls. Since look at the amazing, machinations over here, if that's the right word. Right? God is, paying them up front for whatever good they did, because you got to get paid for whatever good. You get punished for whatever you did wrong. You got to get paid for whatever you did right. So he pays them in this world, and he pays them up front. And the person is led into a false sense of security that never occurs to him to repent, and then he's totally obliterated in the afterlife. Right? Okay, but hell does not necessarily, when a person should definitely venture that shouldn't be hell. Really, do what you can to make sure to at least seek forgiveness, tshuva in this world, and then Hashem, for His part, also seeing that you're seeking atonement here and now, will, first of all, in the merit of the atonement, He could forego punishment altogether. Sometimes the atonement is strong enough to wash away any cosmic damage done, but even so, you've engaged the gears that you want to seek tikkun, will give it to you here and now and spare you the pain in the afterlife. Okay, your next question, right? Will the body be gone in the future? Will we only have be souls, or will the body remain? All right, the future. There's two types of future. There's where we go after we die, which is really a subsection of this world, olam hazeh. We go to the higher world, olam haneshamos, right? When we are awaiting resurrection, and where we go after we die. So indeed, like we said just a minute ago, it's a place where we get punished for any files that haven't been closed before our demise. That's why it's best to repent, and don't leave it till the last moment either. Get it over with in this world, right? And if you repent on your deathbed, it's still better than dying without repentance, because it makes your sentence over there all that easier, right? But after that, the purification period, if necessary, is completed, you go to Gan Eden. You could enter the Garden of Eden, but that's not the real reward for mitzvahs. That's and in the words of the Ramchal, it's only a taste. Only a taste, right? The real reward for mitzvahs is in a place called Olam Haba per se, which is not where we go after we die. That's a universe that hasn't happened yet. Chazal envision it happening, in the 8th millennium, right? First of all, it'll be clear, be closed down at the end of the 6th millennium. 7th millennium, it's going to be an amazing show of the cosmos being refashioned. Great show to watch, and then there's Olam Haba starts in the 8th millennium. Okay, that's where we get reward for our mitzvahs. Okay, everyone agrees to that. That's where the real reward for mitzvahs is. Okay. Another thing everyone agrees to is that there's the resurrection of the dead, right? Tchias HaMesim. It was, and so everyone agrees to it. There's Rambam's 13th out of his 13 principles that there's going to be the resurrection of the dead, maybe speedily in our days. Pointer of Tzad Yagon, it could happen even before Mashiach comes, at least for the righteous, right? Most people assume it'll happen after Mashiach comes. Supposedly there's a Chazal somewhere, I never checked it up, that 40 years after Mashiach comes is the resurrection of the dead. Right? Everyone agrees that that's true. The question is, what's the function of the resurrection of the dead? So now the Rambam holds that the function of resurrection of the dead is a chance to get it right before Olam Haba. That's its function. Now, he doesn't negate that there could be other things also, right? Other reasons, but that's what he seems to hold is the main purpose. Right? All right, right. We hold that there are other reasons also, and I discuss it in my book. I put out a book on the Rambam's 13 principles called the Evan Chasia. Hence today this website's in Hebrew. I've been perpetually delaying putting it out in English. Right, so we speak about a great deal of other functions of the resurrection. Right, but I want to get to your question. Now, it is the Rambam's opinion that before Olam Haba, the body is disposed of. Right, it is disposed of. Right, because we don't need it in Olam Haba, the 8th millennium. Okay. All right, there is because what do we need it for? It's unnecessary because another thing everyone agrees about regarding Olam Haba, the Gemara, right? There's no eating, there's no drinking, it's not a physical world. So what do you need a body for? Your body is for, biochemical survival, which involves eating, drinking, and excreting. We don't do all that. So you need a mouth and lungs and a digestive system for it. Right? That's the Rambam's approach, and the Rambam was widely criticized for it, very widely criticized. Right, to the point that they made an error and they misjudged the Rambam because he says there is no body in Olam Haba. They were afraid. They suspected him of not believing in resurrection whatsoever. And for that purpose, the Rambam wrote a very long composition called Ma'amar Tchias HaMeis in the Treatise on Resurrection, where he actually opens up saying, yeah, he doesn't understand how people can make that mistake about him, because he has these 13 principles of faith, and it's one of the 13, right? No, he said, people of Mishnah, of course there's resurrection. The prophet says it's going to be resurrection. I made the 13th out of my 13 principles of faith. Just not in Olam Haba, right? Because you don't need a body there. Now, the argument that goes the other way of why there should be a body in Olam Haba, right, in the world of reward, which, mind you, is a world which is not physical, no eating, no drinking, just enjoying the divine world. Right? The ones who make the argument why there should be a body there is because your body was equal partners with your soul in doing the mitzvahs. Right? You hear that? Right? So therefore you say, well, you got to get rewarded for your mitzvahs, eternal reward, as we said in response to your previous question. Okay, eternal reward. The body was equal partner. You couldn't do any of the mitzvahs without your body, so the body's got to get it. Right? That's their objective, why there should be a body in Olam Haba. So now aside said everyone has their proofs from Chazal. I'm just talking about the logical side of the arguments. Right? I'm just each side also that side that prove they also felt they had proofs from the scriptures or from Chazal. But I'm leaving that out. Textual proofs I'm leaving out. I'm just talking about the logics. The logic, so the Rambam's logic is a body is unnecessary because you don't eat, you don't drink. That's what is a body. A body is, a digestive system, an excretory system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't need all that stuff there, right? So why should God sustain in existence a bria levatola? So that's for naught. The logic. I'm not talking about textual proofs. We're leaving texts out of it right now. The logic on the other side, right, is well, the body, we said everyone's got to get rewarded. The mitzvahs that are getting eternal reward was equal partner in doing the mitzvahs. Right? So now comes the Ramchal, Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, and he says this in the Das Tvunos, right? They translate as knowing heart, but that's not what it means. It's not the right translation for the name of the book. The Das Tvunos of the Ramchal. Right, so over there, right, he weighs in on this in a very interesting way, and he builds a model that satisfies everybody. So he mentions how the body was an equal partner, in doing the mitzvahs, but he also throws in something else, another factor, actually, which is a point in favor of the Rambam. He says, the body, right, as it is created by a mitigation of divine energy, right? Hester Panim. And this ties into something he had written throughout his book, right? That God runs the world with Haras Panim, Hester Panim. There's, Haras Panim, a shining face, meaning unmitigated divine energy, and that gives us perfection, which includes the spiritual entities like a soul, like angels, like as it were, things are not, God is filling let's call it filling the measure fully. Then there's when he creates things that are lacking, like physicality. Physicality is lacking, and the body is lacking, right? Because even a perfected body, like it's still limited. It's still limited. So even let's say Adam could have lived 1,000 years, right? It's still limited, right? Still limited, right? So it's 1,000 years, then it dies. It's physicality doesn't last forever. But he says, the existence of physicality is indicative that Hashem is withholding divine light, which means that there's areas of the cosmos that are not fully illuminated. He says, so having a body as we know in Rambam means that God would be withholding divine goodness to a certain level to create physicality. And that would be a damper on the wholesome goodness of a universe that's supposed to be all good with no shortcoming whatsoever. Right? So he actually scores a point on the mysticism side, for lack of a better word, in the favor of the Rambam. And he comes and he builds an amazing model. It goes back to the millennia that we were talking about, right? And he says, right, the body will have to be there, right, to get its reward, but the body shouldn't remain physical. Because after all, how could a physical body, that only connects with physical things, be able to appreciate the aura of the Shekhinah? And he gives a model of how the body will gradually become spiritual and assimilated with the soul. So in the 7th millennium, when we're awaiting the world to be rebuilt, I'm just quoting from the Ramchal. This is all there in the Torah. Get me on this. All right, 7th millennium, the body will be overtaken by the soul, and that's why we won't need to eat and drink while we're watching the world be rebuilt for 1,000 years, because the soul will sustain the body, but we will still have a body as we know it, which means that there's a certain level of divine mitigation to give you things like intestines and a excretory system. Then in the 8th millennium, we said that God renews this world, the body then will lose its coarser aspects. So you're not going to have, let's say, a digestive system, but we might have our eyes, ears, our more intelligent, the more honorable parts of the body. So it's a new world, and the body starts losing its form. It's not being disintegrated; it's being elevated. And and what has to disappear first are the lowest things that would drag us down the most, like our digestive system, right? And our excretory system, but it's not being considered, it's being elevated. So it exists in a spiritual form. And then in the 9th millennium, even the rest of the body disappears, but we have what he calls a general body. Right? You could see that there's a thing called the body, but the details aren't visible anymore because it's become too spiritual to discern the details. By the 10th millennium, the body has become so spiritual, it's indistinguishable from the soul. And the only way to explain the body at that point, in the 10th millennium, is that amongst the powers and talents of the soul is something that used to be a physical body. So when you take a look at the model that the Ramchal built, he satisfies both schools of thought. And technically, he's more on the, logistically, I should say. He's technically, logistically, he's actually more on the side of the Rambam than the Kabbalists. The early Kabbalists who may have had this in mind, but they didn't spell it out, right? So there is a body, but it's so spiritualized that it's indistinguishable from the soul. And so the body gets its reward for the mitzvahs done, and yet the body has been elevated. So it's not the body that we know and wouldn't be called something for naught in a world that's totally spiritual. The body has become totally spiritualized and in a perfect oneness with the soul. So the body certainly could equally enjoy the divine aura like the soul does. Right? Have I explained this well enough? Right? Tell me if I explained it well enough, or hit me with another question. Very good questions tonight. Man, more than half the session is gone already. Any more questions before I have to start monologuing again? Wonder, do me a favor, whoever's listening, I would imagine, it's not about me. I would imagine people would love a forum like this where they could ask any question. Maybe just inform all your friends. Put, knowledge of this channel, my website, of this forum on your email list, because I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy this. I just want to help people. I can't believe people, at least in the tri-state area, out in the pizza shops, social distancing. Right. So I don't imagine they're at the movies or at the pizza shops. They're all supposed to be closed. Anyway, okay. So another question. If not, we start monologuing and then we'll call it a night. Because yeah, Shabbos, but for some reason I am feeling exhausted. So another question, or I'll say it's our turn, and then we'll call it a night. The I already monologued at the beginning of the session. So the message I wanted to share with you has been shared already. Right. But yeah, we mentioned the Ramchal. Now, so now in the Sphere reader that I released, there is a major tribute to the Ramchal. You should look at it. And I believe Neder. Let's figure this out. Tonight was Paris. Tomorrow night's Netzach, which is Monday night would be Hod. Right. Right. Tuesday night. Right. Believe Neder. Tuesday night, and I'll send out notifications. Presumably you're subscribed to the channel. Tuesday night, I will do a live stream in honor of the Ramchal, honoring his legacy. Bli Neder, right? So you heard it here first. Tuesday night, there will be a live stream honoring the legacy of the Ramchal. Right. Why are there people born sick? Oh man, I'm almost going to regret throwing out that the opportunity for people to ask a question. Um, why are people born sick? All right, so the obvious problem is that seemingly they did not do anything wrong. Why are they born sick? Okay. Now the most classical answer to that, everyone will. It's almost a knee-jerk reaction. They go Gilgul, reincarnation. They didn't do anything wrong this time around. But it doesn't mean that in a previous lifetime they didn't do something wrong. Right? That's the classical answer that everyone gives. Now the Rambam gives a different answer, right, which needs decoding. This needs decoding, right, and I will decode it for you, right. Now that when the Rambam dealt that question of birth defects, right. So the Rambam did not say reincarnation. That's not saying the Rambam didn't believe in reincarnation. We have no proof, one way or the other, from anything that he wrote as to whether he believes in reincarnation or not. Not to be confused with Rav Sadia Gaon, who did not believe in reincarnation. Rav Sadia Gaon did not believe in Gilgul. Right? So to sharpen your question, right? If like a person like Rav Sadia Gaon, who did not believe in Gilgul, right? How would he explain birth defects, right? People that are born sick, they haven't done anything yet to warrant being sick because they were born that way. They didn't sin and then get sick. Sargon, who openly says he doesn't believe in Gilgul. Now, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think Sargon deals with this question, but I may be wrong. I'm not the biggest expert in Emunah Tzvedeus. I learned that sefer only once. The Rambam was very critical of that sefer, and because I'm such a Rambamist, whatever, I didn't go back to it. But that's the question. Let's just deal with what the Rambam writes in the Mar Nevuchim and the Guide to Perplex. He addresses this issue, It says if a person is born sick, what's the explanation for that? And he says something very interesting that on the face of it says like he really didn't answer the question, right? But I'm going to explain to you the depth of what he actually said. He says like this: to say that there should be no birth defects is to say that man should not be a man. That's what he says. In a sense that just like, well, why does man have only two arms? He should have three arms. He should have three arms. It'll be very convenient. Imagine how much stuff you could hold, you know. Now, crazy New York State, they're going to stop giving us plastic bags in the supermarket. All right. So if you're going to forget to bring your shopping bag with you to the market, and you're going to have to carry everything in your hands. You're not going to have a shopping basket because you forgot yours at home, right? Having three hands would be very helpful. Right? Having that extra hand. If they say, need a hand, can I lend you a hand? Right? So I have three hands. So we know that that's not a legitimate question because that's what a man is. A man is with two hands, That's what man is, right? So it's not a legitimate question. Why don't I have three hands? Right? That's what. So Ram says. So also to demand that there be no birth defects is that the human race shouldn't be the human race. That's what the Ram writes, right? That is what the Rambam writes. It's natural, just like man has two hands. It is natural that X amount out of X amount of healthy births, God forbid. Thank God it's very little, it's very minuscule. Some people will be born sick. That is man. Right? Okay. Sounds terrible. Sounds horrible. Right? But the Rambam was actually my understanding of this Rambam. This is my unique understanding. Meaning, I thought of this myself, and I challenge anyone to give me a better shot in the Rambam. This is the Rambam that we, at the beginning of tonight's session, says reward and punishment. Nothing goes unrewarded, nothing goes unpunished. So why did this person now get punished for something he didn't do, a crime he didn't commit? Why did this person get unnecessarily punished? Ram says he's not being punished. That's what man is. I'll explain this. All right, and this is a Zohar. Right, the Zohar says this, and this might be one of the, I've not seen this as one of the many proofs. There are many proofs that the Rambam had the Zohar, because the only way I could explain this Rambam and explain it well, in my opinion, with the Zohar. And the Zohar is in, I believe, Parshas Emor, what we read last week. For those who read it by themselves, that's what we've read in Shul, where we learned that the Kohen who has blemishes can't serve. That's where the Zohar deals with this, birth defects. It's very unfair. So you're penalizing the guy who, most of those defects, the mum kavur, there could be injuries, but they're talking about, growths and his eyes are not level and a lot of things. That's the way they were born, right? That's the way they were born. You're penalizing the guy, right? That's not fair, right? So the Zohar says something very interesting, and the Zohar says, and it's really what the Rambam's saying. It's just in different, just to say it mystically, right? That God mitigated the moon at the time of creation. At the first instant, sun and moon were the same size. Then God mitigated the moon, which is what makes the night dark. That's what brings darkness through it. Because if the sun would be as big as the moon, then night would shine as brightly as day. So now, you know what that represents, right? The mitigation of the moon is to give room for evil and challenge in the world, right? The world is an imperfect place, right? There are earthquakes, right? Hurricanes, and then AOC is not going to save us from that. Don't think that she just, the Green New Deal won't protect us. Okay? I hope no one here believes in that nonsense. All right, the Green New Deal is not going to protect us from the hurricanes and the earthquakes. Right, physicality is faulted because physicality has to be faulted to perform its function of being the battleground between good and evil. A perfect world does not leave room for evil. And that's all Marumas alluded to in the shrinking of the moon, allowing darkness to prevail. Prevail. So I didn't mean that. I meant allowing darkness. That was a Joe Biden moment. I mean, not to prevail, to darkness to, be, not just to be temporarily, because we believe in the future. Right, the light of the moon will shine as brightly as the light of day, and that's in that perfect world in the future where there won't be any evil in the world. And that moon, like shining bright, really alludes to the body that we spoke about. How the body will expand spiritually, and become spiritual and shine as brightly as the neshama. Right? So now, in this imperfected world, so there's going to be imperfections, right? That's what the Ram says. That's the nature of the world, right? The world has to be that way. And it has to be that way not only for the real reason, right? Excuse me. The short range reason, the immediate outcome is that evil could exist in an imperfect world. But the long range purpose to give us a job to do. Give us a job to do. We are going to struggle against the imperfections in the world, whether it's the bad temptations, but also, we have the challenge. There's going to be poor people in the world. The economy, right? It's one of the faults of physicality, not just earthquakes and hurricanes. The economy comes. Well, Torah told us, in this world, there'll still be poor people no matter what. Socialism won't save us from that either. There'll always be socialism will just ensure there's no one rich, right? But poor people there'll always be, right? And it's our job. It gives us merit that we support the poor. It gives us merit that we stand up to the challenges that the imperfect world poses. The imperfect world gives us our job of standing strong in face of these imperfections and setting them straight. Right? So now we have a job just like we have a job to help the poor, we have a job to help the handicapped. And vice versa. The poor person and the handicapped person both have a job. They have a special test that they get paid for of withstanding their poverty or their handicap, accepting it with faith, with bitachon, and they get paid for it. And they have a job I don't have, and I have a job they don't have. And there's a lot of different jobs to give out. And this whole world is Hayom La Sosam Umocher Lakabel Scharm. This is the world of work. So now, and the Zohar goes on to say 2 points, right? The person who's handicapped, he's not a bad person. And the proof is from halacha. The very same, just like he's not allowed to serve, meaning he has a different job. He doesn't have the same job as the Kohen who's born with a perfect body, right? But he is allowed to eat the truma as long as he goes to the mikvah. He keeps himself in purity. He can eat the truma. He can eat kosher. He's only pasul la'avoda. He has a different job than the able-bodied Kohen who has a perfect body. He has a different job, right? But he's not a worse person. He's not even less of a Kohen as far as the privileges of being a Kohen. He gets those holy things that only a Kohen is allowed to eat. Right? So it's an amazing point, right? That he's not less of a Kohen even. He has a different job than your average Kohen, right? And that's the Rambam. So the Rambam, and so let's just follow through what the Zohar says, that in the future, when the moon will heal and swell to be the same size as the sun, all the people with birth defects will be healed at that time also. Meaning to say they have their defects as a challenge. That's their share of taking on the challenges of an imperfect world, which is our whole job. Imperfect world, which was enabled, the imperfection was enabled by the shrinkage of the moon, right? And everyone has to take a piece of that imperfection and work to correct it. So having his soul inside his imperfect body, so the soul illuminating that imperfect body is the soul illuminating that. Also parallel to that, it's cosmic parallel in the big picture, and they're taking on a big job of purifying the imperfections of the world. Right? And when the world will be perfected with the moon, soil, the sun, all the Baalei Mumim, all the people with birth blemishes will be healed. Right? And in the meantime, that's their job. Right? The job of the blemish man is also the job of the poor man. They take on, they were created to face off with those imperfections of the world. The rich man has different tests. He has to make sure, first of all, the women are after him, right? He has that test that he has to withstand. He has the test of, trusting people, or maybe they're only after his money. I'm sure even you, I don't know who you are, but you've probably met rich people that tell you, you know, don't be jealous of me. I've heard it. Just you can't help saying, well, I'd like to see that for myself. What can we do? We're human, right? But I've heard it from rich people themselves. Yochanan, don't be jealous of me, right? Everyone's got their own tests, and the forum of tests was by the mitigation of the moon. And that's what the Rambam meant to say. No one's being treated unfairly. Everyone has their tests. And, and just like, you're human. You only have two arms, right? And then, but it would be great if I had a third. Well, no, the human being is a two-armed creature. Anything else is not human. You're human, except you're also human. And you get paid for how you make the most of your situation. And your situation is your mission in life. So also those who are born with birth defects, that's their mission, right? And to say there should be no birth defects, say there shouldn't be human beings. That the human being shouldn't be a human being. Ram meant to say, this is the nature of human events because of the shrinkage of the moon. So it's just like some people will be rich, some people will be poor, some people will have this. That's human. It's also human to have birth defects, and it's all just in the sense that everyone has their challenge, which is their unique mission in life, to do their part to perfect themselves and perfect the what's parallel to them in the cosmos. And in the future, when the moon swells as big as the sun, everyone is healed, everyone is perfected, everyone gets paid for how well they executed their mission. All right, it was a loaded question, and tell me if I satisfied you. And I'm happy to deal with more questions, or follow up if I was not clear enough. Have I been clear enough? Because there's still a few minutes left in this session, so I'm happy to clarify anything about what I said that may not be clear because it's a heavy topic. Right? Have I been clear enough explaining the concept of people born sick or born with birth defects? Yes. Okay, my friend. Looks like usual, you're. Looks like you may be the only one in the room. So I'll just ask you if you have any more questions, and if not, we'll call it a night. But listen, looks like you're getting a lot out of this session. I think you should, put it on your email list that there is this session. Your email list, your WhatsApp list, purely for the purpose that I think a lot of people will benefit from this session. Opportunity twice a week to ask anything that's on your mind. I mean, so all right, last call. You have any more questions before we call it a night? Because there's 3 minutes left to play. Anything else? Okay, so I think that does us for this evening. Right, thank you for coming. Go to the website. If you didn't get the Sphere Reader Part 2, go to the website. It's up to averagesay.com. And we will, believe that our Tuesday night, do a live stream honoring Ramchal. Subscribe to the channel so you get notification for it. And look out for a Shavuos reader that will be released either Friday or Sunday. Okay, so thank you for coming. Good vach, Shavua Tov, and let's see if we'll see each other Tuesday, Mitzvah Hashem. We'll have a special live stream in the honor of the yard site of the Ramchal. Okay, have a good week, everybody.